guys, Art Decline here, Average Picker. So it's Stock Lock Sunday, and I've got some stock locks I'd like to be trying to pick, and I've got some challenge locks like to be trying to pick. However, I really got to finish up this challenge lock for Washington State Picker, so I can get his package off into the mail hopefully tomorrow morning. So I'm kind of cutting myself off at the moment. So yeah, and I'm almost down to key cutting, all nice and marked up here as we start making the cuts. And this is one of those things, and I've been trying to get better about, and not better about making the keys, better about making them better. So a lot of my challenge locks, oh gosh, did I just snag that in there, that I send out are very snaggy. And one of the reasons for that is, did I ship off? No. Yeah, and one of the reasons for that is when the key gets kind of good enough, I kind of just leave it good enough. And it makes it so it works, but it doesn't work all that great. And so one of the things I've been trying to do is just be more thorough about it. One of my problems is, especially early on, when I would do these, I'd make a little slip up and I'd go just a little bit too, deep, and then it would ruin the whole key. And I got to the point where I got so tired of that happening that I started skimping the other direction. And so what I was doing was, instead of going all the way with it, I was kind of hedging my bet that it would just be, all right, that only sort of worked. So yeah, smoother keys. That's been one of the things I've decided to commit into doing better. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And right now it means going a lot slower and making sure I do a lot more of the kind of fine polishing and fine tuning. And just accepting that if I screw it up, I'm just going to have to dig out a different key and start again. So yeah, and maybe, I don't know, this video is probably just going to be a hodgepodge of kind of working on this lock. So a while ago I had watched a documentary on BRM, which is British Racing Motors. And they were just kind of a big conglomerate of different British companies that all banded together to do some race car construction, building, racing, kind of Grand Prix stuff. But one of the things the lead engineer said in the documentary, which stuck with me, was he said he was always leaving himself an out. And he thought that was one of his problems he had. That they often had really good designs and good builds, but he was always hedging his bet a little bit. And I've kind of realized that's what I've often done with the keys, just because I don't want to always run out and have to go out and get a new key or whatever. And I've often done that. I think I've kind of hedged my bets a little bit on them and gone, well, if I take off just enough, I can always come back to it and get it a little bit more fixed up. And I think I was just always leaving myself a little bit of an out. And it's just made some of the locks I've sent out, they've been fine. They've worked. But they have been snaggy. So hopefully I will kind of change that behavior, but that can be hard to do. Okay, so Washington State Picker, if you're watching and you don't want a little bit of a spoiler on this one lock, stop watching now. But we're headed into the final assembly, or at least the final test assembly for this lock we're putting together. And this looks like it's going to be our lineup. I've made a few changes to it along the way. This is going to be chamber 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are going to stick a 6th pin into it, just for giggles. If we drop it in there, we see he sits pretty much right there. Now that is just a tad enough of a lip that we could maybe catch that with a driver. However, if we put the key in, see, unless I put a lot of pressure, and I do have a lot of pressure on it, it doesn't really quite lift it up. What it would look like more in the lock would still just be that. Just pretty flush, but it's not really enough of a lift that's going to do much. There we are without the key. But he's going to go in there because I think on the off chance that the pick goes all the way in the back and finds a pin, it may get lifted. And if it gets lifted, we may be able to catch the shear line with this slightly reduced diameter guy, and that'll just throw things off a little bit. This is kind of similar to one I did with Fast Charlie, where I actually put an empty chamber in the middle of the lock. I did a complete empty chamber, though, in 5, and then I had 6 was pinned up regular. So yeah, that's our shear line across here. And those are our key pins. So we're kind of going with some little spiky guys. And those are our drivers. And I've talked about the spiky pins before, and so I've matched them up basically to full or nearly full diameter pins, so they don't catch each other, because you really don't want to line up 2 spiky pins with each other. So yeah. A little reminiscent of Little Spiky 2, which unfortunately is broken at Bill Bacardi's. But we did something similar here where we had a cake pin kind of in the first chamber. Okay, I do have a shim in here because I should have been using the hollow follower. If I don't botch this, this will be the moment of truth. Let's see if this is going to work. All right. Not going to put the back on yet, but hopefully I won't do something stupid like pull the key out and the core with it. Oh, it's very snaggy. Snaggy to the point that it's not wanting to go. I think I do know where the problem is. There we go. Yeah, so that did trip over. Not easily. Oh, well. Might just be the pins need to set a little bit. That's going pretty all right. A little bit of a snag. Let's see if we can't clear that up a little bit. Is this going to be Little Spiky 3? I don't know if I'll give him that name or not. Yeah, so you know what it is. You push the key in far enough, it's raising that 6th pin, that hair that I showed you, and that's causing it to snag some. But if you're very light-handed with the key, it doesn't. That almost makes me tempted to go ahead and fully activate that 6th pin. Maybe is worth trying something with, or at least dropping a spring in there so it feels like something's under tension in there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do call it spiky 3. Because then I feel like I would have to go even more overboard than I did on spiky 2. Because one of the things I did on spiky 2 was I removed a lot of material from here and a whole lot of material from all down through here, both on the Bible and the core, just in order to remove the picking platform and make it difficult to tension. So I figured that the more I could take off from the bottom, the harder it would be getting that pick to balance off in there. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is, it's pretty good as long as you don't put hard pressure on that key. I'm pretty happy with that considering there's spikes in there. So we'll stick this in the clamp and see, give it a quick little test pick. Okay, let's see what we get. Just want to make sure it doesn't fall open by accident. A couple that I made recently have been really easy picks, which I don't overly have a problem with. I don't know, maybe, I guess I'm going to send them out anyway. You can definitely feel that 6th guy back there if you go in too far. It's feeling pretty good. It's behaving kind of as I wanted them to. I think its number's up. Let's see. Knowing what I'm dealing with makes it a little bit easier. Oh, got some rotation. Doesn't have quite the little spikes I made for this guy are not as steep and defined as some of the previous ones, and it doesn't quite give you that same feedback that they sometimes do, but oh, we're in. Not too terrible. Knew what we were dealing with, so that makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. All right. Let's get the back on it. And I think Washington State, yeah, I think the package is going to be ready for you tomorrow morning. All right. You guys have a good one.